Indie video games have become a daily presence on the internet. These days, it's easier than ever for an average person working out of their parents' basement to create a game that ends up being more fun than those developed by major studios. However, crafting a high-quality product takes more than just good intentions. That's where crowdfunding campaigns come in. Thanks to these initiatives, some incredible projects have come to life, but they've also opened the door for scammers who use them as a way to stir up excitement and disappear with thousands of dollars in their wallets. Mexican developers have been trying to create a video game rooted in their own culture for years. While many modern games occasionally feature Mexico, a fully Mexican game based on the country's ancient culture has never truly existed. The Mexican video game industry is far from thriving, despite passionate efforts by enthusiasts to attract big investors. Very few are willing to put their money into it. Still, a handful of titles made in Mexico have managed to earn praise and a decent reception from the public. Tired of waiting for someone else to save the day, Guillermo Alarcón, a young Mexican man, decided to found a game development studio. His goal was to create a title that would explore the Spanish conquest of Mexico from the perspective of the indigenous cultures that once inhabited these lands. The game would be called Mictlan, an ancient mythical tale. From the moment it was announced, Guillermo and his studio became celebrities in Mexico's gaming community.
Ahora le quiero hablar sobre un videojuego que toma como escenario el México prehispánico.
Si eres amante de los videojuegos, creo que esta entrevista te va a gustar muchísimo.
Videojuego creado por un estudio mexicoamericano que se basa y expone como nunca antes la cultura mesoamericana.
Estuvimos platicando con Guillermo Alarcón y es creador del videojuego Mictlan.
Previews they shared hinted at a game of top-tier quality, developed using the Unreal Engine, the same graphics engine used by Fortnite. The early footage resembled major titles like God of War and Assassin's Creed. But of course, creating something of that caliber requires more than just passion. So, Guillermo launched several crowdfunding campaigns to raise the money needed to bring the project to life. The response was overwhelmingly positive. The project looked so promising that few people hesitated to donate. Mictlan gradually gained popularity and even caught the attention of prominent Mexican gaming influencers. Eventually, Guillermo reached out to some of them for help promoting the game, offering to feature them as characters in return. These included Fidel Lobo, known for his humorous reviews of movies and games, Al Capone, one of Latin America's earliest streamers, and Luisito Rey, a comedy and vlogging personality.
Pronto más información en mis redes sociales y también en las redes sociales de Mictlan, que te dejo en la parte de la descripción para que vayas a checar el proyecto si es que no lo conocías.
Le doy la bienvenida, él es Guillermo. Guillermo, ¿cómo te encuentras?
Hola Luisito, muy bien, aquí muy feliz de compartir con todos ustedes un poquito más sobre el desarrollo del Mictlan.
Ok, bueno pues bienvenido.
Estoy con Guillermo Alarcón, gente. ¿Me puedes explicar qué es lo que haces dentro del estudio?
Sí, claro. Bueno, mi nombre es Guillermo Alarcón, yo soy el director creativo y fundador del proyecto Mictlan.
Their support gave the project a major boost in credibility, helping to convince even more people to contribute. The hype grew so much that even Shuhei Yoshida, Japanese businessman and former president of Sony Interactive Studios, approached Guillermo to discuss possible investment. At one point, the team even presented the game at San Diego Comic-Con. But gradually, things began to take a turn. People started noticing that in interviews, Guillermo gave vague and evasive answers to technical questions about the game, raising suspicions that he didn't actually understand video game development.
Entonces, el juego, como lo que entiendo, es un juego de mundo abierto. No sé, será como el estilo para los fans de los videojuegos, como Uncharted, algo así, de aventuras. ¿Qué haces? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué es la historia? Es que...
Bueno, siento de una otra forma, o sea... Por ejemplo, una es de que en México no existe una industria de videojuegos. Entonces, para los que son fans de videojuegos, creo que es importante apoyar a
Claro.
desarrolladores mexicanos, especialmente ya que existe un grupo muy grande de artistas mexicanos que nunca han tenido la oportunidad de trabajar en un desarrollo de un videojuego.
Y así de
afuera,
grande, ¿no?
afuera de la temática y afuera de las mecánicas del juego, creo que es importante apoyar a otros artistas.
These suspicions were later confirmed. In reality, Guillermo was a photographer and a wannabe filmmaker. He had never worked in game development or anything related to software. The idea for Mictlan came to him during a psychedelic experience, and from there, he reached out to friends who did have technical knowledge to propose founding the studio. As time went on, updates on the project became less frequent, despite the fact that monthly charges to backers on platforms like Patreon continued, and it wasn't cheap. Even the lowest tier backers were paying nearly 4,000 Mexican pesos, somewhere around $205, while the highest tier supporters were shelling out 16,000 pesos per month, which is around $820. Eventually, former collaborators began sharing their experiences online. Many were unpaid interns who described being overworked by Guillermo, who, it turned out, had little idea what he was doing. His primary involvement was asking for a few 3D character models so he could post updates on Facebook and YouTube. But in truth, actual development of the game hadn't even started. This led to a flood of videos accusing Guillermo and the entire project of being a scam. People began to flood Mictlan's social media pages with questions and criticism. And what some called a smart damage control move, Guillermo responded by disabling comment sections on all related content. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years, and eventually the project faded from public view. Legally, not much can be done, since Mictlan is technically still in development on all crowdfunding platforms, but to most people it's obvious. Guillermo took the money and vanished. There's another way to look at the story though. Perhaps from the beginning the project was simply too ambitious. Guillermo had promised the game would be completed and available on all major consoles by 2025, despite launching the campaign in 2021. Considering that the team consisted of just a handful of unpaid interns, it was hard to imagine they could ever meet the goal. Even massive titles like GTA 6, backed major companies and developed by hundreds of professionals, routinely faced delays due to the sheer complexity of game development. It was also discovered that the much hyped studio didn't even exist as a physical space. Most of the employees worked from home using their own equipment. The supposed headquarters of Meta Studios' creative agency was, in fact, Guillermo's personal apartment. In the end, it seems Guillermo wasn't a scammer, just a dreamer who underestimated the challenge of launching a video game. When he realized it wasn't as easy as filming a short movie, he panicked and withdrew from public life. Today, the saga is remembered in Mexico as part of internet folklore. Sadly, the country is still waiting for a game that truly honors its pre-Hispanic culture, one with the potential to become a global hit.